Welcome to the University of Dundee Master of Education webinar. My name is Helen Spiropoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening all the way from the UK is Dr. Marie. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Good evening, everybody. It's fantastic to be here tonight with you all.
Good, thank you. And I've heard, Marie, that there's quite a cold spell out of your end. Is that correct?
That's correct. Storm Darcy has brought us quite a bit of snow. Everywhere is white. It looks very pretty, but not very practical.
I'm sure. All right, so I've actually looked here on my right-hand side, and I can see that quite a lot of you have joined us from the UAE as well as KSA and Egypt. So welcome to everyone this evening. Okay, so how we are going to conduct the webinar this evening is I'm just going to briefly introduce you to Stafford. I'm then going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's going to take you through the program. And right at the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to type out any questions that you'd like to ask me or Dr. Marie. Now, Dr. Marie will answer questions pertaining to the academics of the program, and anything related to admissions, I can assist you with that. I am going to be looking at these questions quite carefully because a lot of them are quite similar. So I will be grouping them together. Okay, so let's get started. Who is Stafford Global? Well, Stafford was established in 1993, and we are a resource center for distance learning education in the Middle East. And we are also currently accepting applications for this particular program as far afield as Canada, as well as Africa and some parts of Europe. Now, we are currently the resource centre for 5 UK universities, one of which is the University of Dundee. We do offer a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas to bachelors right through until doctorates. So we really do have all the programs for your own professional and personal needs. Now, the fact that you're here with us this evening means that you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants, and our function at Stafford is to assist you throughout the application process, get all your documents to the university and ensure that you get that very, very important unconditional offer. We also do offer some academic as well as administrative support. Okay, so I'm now going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, and I shall be back towards the end of the presentation to take the questions. Over to you, Dr. Marie.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Helen. So, thank you, everybody, and welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education Programme. So, as Helen says, my name is Dr. Marie Beresford-Dey, and I'm one of the lecturers on the Master of Education Programme, primarily within the leadership pathways. I'm also the academic lead and advisor of study for all students who are studying on the MEd via Stafford Associates. So what I'm going to do first of all is just to discuss briefly who we are at Dundee, so before moving on to the MEd programme specifically. So at the University of Dundee, we make a difference here in the real world. We encourage a cross-disciplinary exchange of thoughts, ideas and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and perspectives. We work to foster a partnership between staff and students and actively seek ways of working across boundaries. We encourage and support you to be transformative. We make time to listen to you, to help you and to support you throughout your studies, recognising and respecting differences and actively promoting inclusion, nurturing that creativity and innovation. And as a modern university, We focus our efforts on 3 key themes. That's improving the social, cultural and physical well-being to develop innovative solutions to 21st century problems. So throughout all of that, our main aim is that we transform lives. Okay, so why Dundee? Why choose Dundee? As you can see from the listings there, we're frequently placed highly in the university's ranking, and we're very proud of those rankings. We have a substantial global reputation with students from over 150 countries around the world. And no matter where you are in the world, where you're studying from, we will promote a real sense of community, and we do feel that it's this that sets us apart. So at Dundee, we can offer you a learning experience with one of the world's top universities, and during the course of your studies, we'll offer you excellent teaching, learning, support, and of course, resources. Okay, so taking now a little look at the MEd programme itself. So the Master of Education is a professional development programme undertaken at level 11 on the Scottish Qualifications Framework. So this is at master's level. And although the MEd is recognised by the General Teaching Council for Scotland, it's not a teaching qualification. As different national governments have different prerequisites for teaching, you are advised to check with the government body, the relevant government body or registering body in the regions where you're intending to teach or are teaching. So on the MEd programme, we treat all students equally. So even though you'll be studying at a distance, you'll still have access to all the different types of student support that we offer here at Dundee. This is an internationally recognised postgraduate qualification within education, and it has a focus from early years through to higher education. So we offer flexibility through our part-time and fast-track studies, and of course within that comes the elements of autonomy, where we don't prescribe exactly what you should be doing each week. It is up to you to be able to manage that with the support of your tutors. So it's blended learning programme, so we'll offer online teaching in a similar way that we're conducting this presentation now, but also there are opportunities when travel restrictions permit for us to offer face-to-face workshops twice within your qualification throughout the MEd. So as I say, it's a practice-based professional development learning qualification rather than a teaching licence qualification, but it is recognised by the International Baccalaureate, and we offer 3 awards in line with the IB, of which I will discuss shortly. And we offer a variety of routes and foci throughout the MEd programme, depending on where your interests and your expertise lies. Okay, there are several benefits of undertaking a master's degree. Now, first of all, it deepens and broadens your knowledge through asking questions, seeking those answers, and exploring the landscape from different perspectives, which then changes the way in which you perceive the world. And through this, you'll develop a more inquiring, reflecting, critical and innovative approach to your practice. Through undertaking the MEd, you'll demonstrate your mastery of education, which of course can be honed further to specialise in an educational area. And we also, undertaking the MEd also enables you to develop transferable skills such as criticality, communication, use of technology and organisational skills. A study at master's level in general enables you to improve your career prospects, which often leads to higher incomes, as this also includes professional progression into leadership and management roles. Also, you might wish to progress to doctoral study if you obtain the full MEd, and we certainly have students who have done that, are doing that, and no doubt will do that in the future. Some countries consider teaching at master's level teaching as a master's level profession, so obtaining the MEd enables you to meet the professional requirements for those countries. Okay, so the MEd is a programme of study that brings together theory and practice. It enables you or encourages you to draw on your experiences and align them with literature. So as I say, it enables you to question things, but question why we do certain things and whether there are any alternative ways where practice can be enhanced. So just dashing on a little bit there. The MEd encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global educational developments through offering opportunities to critically explore different perspectives of education from around the world, and all of which help to develop or extend or enhance your professional career. And as tutors, we are continuously seeing our students' practice being influenced by their learning at master's level, and this inevitably benefits the students and the staff who you're working alongside, so not just yourselves but those around you also. Okay, so to obtain a Masters of Education, you'll need to complete 180 credits of study in any of those named awards. The award of Leading Learning and Teaching, highlighted in bold, is our generic award, which provides subject flexibility. However, if you require a subject specialism, you can see that we have options from educational leadership to childhood STEM, nursery and early education, and through TESOL. So TESOL is our relatively new pathway in the MEd, and we're very much excited to introduce that. Okay, each of the optional modules enables you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment, as long as you have relevant teaching experience to draw from. Each of the optional modules is considered as a single credit module, and each of them are worth 30 credits. In addition, we also have 3 core modules. Okay, in addition, we also have 3 core modules, which are also worth 30 credits, plus we also have the double credit dissertation. So, to demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see that the generic Leading Learning and Teaching awards enable you to undertake any 2 optional modules, along with having flexibility at the dissertation stage. Whereas the named awards not highlighted in bold do require you to undertake specific modules, and the dissertation must focus on an area relevant to that named award. So, for example, if you wish to obtain an MEd in Educational Leadership, then one of your optional modules must be Leadership and Organisational Development, with a free choice of a second optional, but then your dissertation must also focus on educational leadership. Okay, so moving to the International Baccalaureate that I signposted earlier. For these awards, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you'll need to register directly with the IB, and we do provide you with guidance for this process. We also have a dedicated member of staff who will provide you with IB support. There's no additional requirements for each of the IB awards, but you will be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications. And again, tutors will provide you with support with this. So what you can see is that we have 3 awards, IB awards. The first of those is in Certificate in Leadership Practice. And for this, there's no prerequisite of any IB experience. The second award is the Advanced Certificate in Leadership Research. For this, we have 2 pathways, which are very similar. Apart from the first pathway, there's no prerequisite of IB experience required. And the second one, that you will need 3 years teaching experience in an IB school. And then finally, we have the Advanced Certificate in Learning and Teaching Research. And for this, you must have 3 years teaching experience in an IB school to be eligible for that award. Okay, so now just to talk through a couple of examples in terms of your routes through the MEd programme, the full MEd programme. And this example that you see now is a typical part-time route, and it does include the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research Award. So in year 1, you can take Reflecting Upon Practice and follow that by an optional module, and at that point of successful completion, you'd be eligible to exit with a postgraduate certificate. Year 2, which is the diploma level, for that you would need to obtain a second optional module plus the research methods. And then finally, year 3 for the full MEd award, along with the IB eligibility for the Advanced Teaching and Learning Research, you will need to undertake the dissertation. Okay, so that's quite open when we are looking at the Advanced Teaching and Learning Research Award. Just to talk through now an award with the IB leadership route through, and this is a little bit more specialised. And again, it is a typical part-time route. So year 1, you would commence with Leadership and Organisational Development module, followed by the Reflection Upon Leadership in the IB. Now that gives you eligibility for the IB Leadership Practice Award, but it does also mean at that point you could exit with postgraduate certificates. Now we would hope that you continue on to for the full MEd, and for that in year 2 you would then undertake the second optional, what we would consider as the second optional, plus the research methods. And at this point, you will be eligible to exit with a postgraduate diploma. But again, we'd hope that you continue into year 3, where you would undertake the dissertation to give you that eligibility for the Advanced IB Leadership Award. But your dissertation at this point, to obtain that Advanced IB Leadership certificate or eligibility for it, would mean that you need to focus your dissertation in the final year on leadership and the IB. So we have lots of flexibility through, and this is something that we do advise you to speak with your consultant at Stafford Global. So the study duration, the programme has options for fast track or part-time study. The key difference here is that you double up the amount of work carried out in a semester for the fast track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in one semester, as opposed to the 30 credits which you would undertake for the part-time route. The fast track option is a significant undertaking, and I really do strongly advise you to consider whether you have the space to complete approximately 30 hours of study per week. However, if you do decide upon this option but then feel it's a little too overwhelming, or things change in your work or home circumstances, we can transfer you onto the part-time route at the start of a semester. Equally, if you commence the part-time route, but perhaps your circumstances change again so that you feel that you're able to double up your study, then again, we'll be able to transfer you at certain points of your study. Okay, so we do provide you with optional workshops. Now, these are not mandatory, but are highly recommended. They're a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors. And it's a space for us to start building that sense of community that I mentioned. And that really is important to help you progress with your studies well. The induction workshops will provide an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online learning platform, such as how to access the online library, your module materials, and how to access the various support mechanisms. The workshops will also offer you an opportunity to develop an understanding of critical reading, thinking, and writing, all of which are required for master's level learning. And feedback for these is always excellent from our students. They find them very worthwhile and beneficial to moving forward with their studies. So these optional workshops at the moment are planned for Friday the 9th and Saturday the 10th of April. Due to the circumstances with the global pandemic, it's likely that these are, very likely that these are going to be held virtually this year. So whilst the 9th and 10th are the key days, there may be some sessions that are held either side of those as well. But we will provide you with detailed information on those sessions. So for entry onto the MEd, all routes you must have an undergraduate degree. Now this can be in any discipline, and we also require an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent if your undergraduate degree wasn't taught in English. Okay, we must have that requirement. For a workplace-based routes, educators, so for educators who currently work in the relevant setting and wish to enhance their professional learning and improve your career progression, and also for those who are not currently in the workplace, we also offer a route through. However, you must have previous work experience, not necessarily current, but it must be in a relevant educational setting to provide you with enough experience to draw from and to reflect upon. So what do our students say? Again, students are very positive about the course, the outcomes that it's enabled them to do in terms of moving forward and progressing in their career. They're also positive about the support that has been given as well. So we love to see these our students progress through as a result of the study. It's something that we all look forward to as tutors. So in terms of tuition fees, please do ask your academic consultant for a breakdown of the tuition fees and payment opportunities. And do note that the application deadline is the 19th of March, and that's rapidly appearing. So I'm sure Helen's going to come in and give you a bit more guidance on the application deadline, because it will be there before we know it. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation, and we're happy to take forward any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Marie. That was very, very informative. And yes, I have seen quite a few questions that are coming through, and even answered one or two in the background already. Okay, and a very interesting question from Amisha. Will this course help me to teach in international schools?
It can do, certainly. I want to just prize apart the response to that a little bit, because in helping you to teach, if you need a teaching license, then that's something that you're going to have to explore depending on the country and whereabouts in the world you are. where you wish to teach. So that aside, then yes, it can help you to teach in international schools. We certainly have a large number of students who are teaching in international schools because of their undertaking of the MEd, but also they've undertaken the MEd because they're teaching in international schools. So there was a lot to that response, but it very much depends on the situation and where you are.
Okay, and we have Miriam all the way from Nigeria. I have a postgraduate diploma in education here in Nigeria. My question is, do I join in year 3 of this program?
We would need to have a look. There's certainly the potential there for any credit exemption, but we would need to check your transcripts and your certificates as to when that postgraduate diploma was obtained, because for any credit exemption, it must be within a 5-year period of you obtaining that qualification. So we would need to check that, and we would also need to be able to map or route make sure that there is a correlation between your previous studies and the MEd as well. So for that, we'd like to see a copy of your transcript and any learning outcomes that are available from your your postgraduate diploma. Helen, I don't know if you want to add anything else onto that from your side of things.
Yes, Dr. Marie is actually quite correct on that. And Miriam, you can see my email address here on the screen at the moment. Please feel free to send me a copy of that postgraduate diploma as well as the transcript and a copy of your CV as well. And then we'll be able to guide you as to what documentation is actually required to be submitted so that Dr. Marie and her team can actually review your application. Okay, so please do email me as soon as you can. Okay, and David's question is how affordable are the fees? Okay, so let me just answer that for you, David. Please do get in touch with us, with your academic consultant. The fees are very, very flexible. They are payable on a monthly installment. Okay, so do get in touch with us and we'll be able to give you a personalized fee structure. Okay, I have studied my bachelor in business. Does this qualify me to teach business for secondary? Because the first year is PGCE and it's not PGCHI.
Again, I think in terms of any teaching requirements, you need to check that within the country that you are aiming to teach in. Certainly, your undergraduate degree will provide you with eligibility or the prerequisites for undertaking the MEd and the postgraduate certificates. But it does change from country to country, region to region, so please do check that.
Okay, and I'm just going to answer David's question regarding a visa. David, this program is a distance learning program. Okay, there's no need for you to actually go to the university. It is not a full-time program, so you do not require any visas. Okay, and we have a question from Richard. I am a high school principal and obviously I have many years of management experience. I do not hold a degree. Will I be accepted?
Unfortunately not. We do require all our students to have an undergraduate degree. That said, I would again just point you back in the direction of the team at Stafford there who may be able to offer you ways of obtaining that degree and then hopefully moving on to the master's programme at a later date.
Okay, and Amira's question is about the different routes. If I happen to start on the fast track route, is there a possibility for me to actually change to a normal route if I find that the workload is too heavy for me?
Yes, definitely. But this has to be done at certain points. So we couldn't do that, for example, a week before your assignment was due in. But generally, students know much sooner than that, within the first few weeks, with whether it's manageable. But these are things that we would discuss with you throughout. So at any point, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the workloads, then we would advise you to speak to us. But as I mentioned in the presentation, do think carefully about whether you could undertake approximately 30 hours of study per week on that fast track route. Have a look at your lifestyle, whether you're working, if you're working, whether that's full-time, whether you have additional responsibilities at work through, for example, a leadership role. What does all this mean in terms of the space and the time you have available?
Okay, and can the postgraduate certificate in leadership and development help me in working at a university as a professor or assistant teacher, or would I have to perhaps do the full MEd?
Again, this varies from university to university. I mean, I certainly got my post here at the university, but having completed a full MEd on educational leadership. And some universities may take you without the masters if you're on the master's program already. Other universities will look for a doctorate. So again, there's such a wide range around the world that you would need to just, again, check with the regions, check with the university in the regions that you are aiming to work.
Okay, and does experience of teaching IBDP for more than 8 years add some credit when I take up this program?
No, unfortunately, we only offer credit exemption for any master's level learning that has been undertaken. So it has to be equivalent to a master's level module.
Okay, good. And I have taught in an IB school for 2 years ago, but my current school is not IB. Will my past experience in IB be counted for the IB leadership certificate, or should I be currently in an IB school?
Well, because of the IB leadership certificate offers 2 pathways through, and there's very little difference between those pathways, but you can anyway, if you undertake the first 2 modules of leadership and organisational development and reflecting upon leadership practice, you don't actually need any IB teaching experience. And I would always suggest that you undertake those modules. You might need to anyway to take one of them because you need the leadership element, but the second one, the reflecting upon leadership in the IB, again will give you that grounding to move forward with that towards an advanced certificate. So I think under those circumstances, I would take the route through which offers those 2 modules to you, and in that way that you are eligible at the end of those 2 modules for an IB award.
Super. And this is a question about the workshops. Can you advise how long the workshops are per day? And are there breaks in between? How is that all structured, especially if we are in different parts of the world or the country?
I mean, we try to, we've got quite a lot of experience of working around the world, so we understand different time zones, and we do try to fit those into the time zones. We also, what tends to happen, we're probably looking at a 10 a.m. sort of start, within the UAE, not 10 a.m. our time, 10 a.m. UAE, and finish it at around about 2-3 p.m. That's the sort of timings that we aim for. In terms of breaks, yes, particularly with the online. I mean, we offer plenty of breaks anyway, even when we come face to face, but more so with the online. And we may ask you to leave the computer a little bit, go and do some tasks, go and think about things, reflect on something, and then come back and feed back to us. So there's ways and means that we do that, because we realize you can't be sat 8 hours each day in front of the computer, particularly if it's your weekend and you've got family around you. So we try and work with that as well. However, if there are times when you can't meet those sessions, if it's online, they will be recorded and you will be sent the recordings as well. So we do understand that the situation at the moment does add an extra layer of complexity that we need to overcome. So
absolutely. And just a follow-up question on these workshops from Richard. I know I've been told that these are not mandatory, but in your opinion, Dr. Marie, does this actually help me to do better in this program?
Indirectly, yes. Because you're building those relationships and getting that sense of community, and generally research tells us that that is beneficial for studying. It gets you to know the online system, so once the module opens up, you've got an understanding of where to go for what type of information. Also, it starts to develop your understanding around that all-important criticality that we're looking for at level 11. So there are lots of benefits in there. That said, if people can't make them, it doesn't mean to say that you know that's detrimental to your study, because we offer ways of providing you that information. So as tutors, we're trying to balance that out. But yes, I would always recommend getting to the workshops where you can.
Excellent. And again, a follow-up question from Maya is regarding the induction. Stafford has informed me that the induction is quite important. What happens if I actually miss this induction? Will it be recorded?
Well, that's why it's the same way. The induction, one of the workshops that we offer is the induction workshop. So it works in very much the same way. So all the things I've said about the workshop, we can transfer that over in terms of the induction, because the first workshop is the induction workshop. We also do ask you, we send you out some information as well, maybe to do a little task, an online task. It wouldn't be much, but really just to start you into the process, and also making sure that you're set up in terms of the technology and things like that. So you will be emailed that information. So I do ask, you know, where possible, that you carry out those tasks, just so when the modules open up for that, when the semester starts, you're ready. You're ready to get going with the learning, rather than then having to deal with all the technology and uncertainties.
Good. And is it possible to study 2 specializations at the same time, or can I complete one specialization and then take another one?
Okay. Now, in your named award, you would only get one specialization in your named award. But we do offer, of course, the second optional module, and also your dissertation may integrate more than one area of specialization. So I'm just pulling an example here, say educational leadership and international education work very well together, and it may be that you decide to bring those together in your dissertation. So whilst your award would only give you the one specialisation, it may be on your transcript you would have the 2 modules identified. So again, speak to the team at Stafford to discuss your route through, and we can always, again, the team will also contact myself if there's any queries about where you're aspiring to be in your career and the pathway that you're thinking about taking.
Right, and here's a question regarding TESOL. I have noticed that there is this TESOL specialization. What can I actually do with this once I have completed this qualification?
Well, there's a range of jobs. I mean, if I take first and foremost teaching, and that can be not just within schools, there's teaching but various different aspects. Some of that may be higher education, it may be in terms of, say, consultancy, for example. Also, it may lead you to leadership and promotions within your schools or your institutions. It can link to work with various charities. It can link to editing work for educational books or beyond. So there's a range of things where TESOL will give you a competitive advantage.
Okay, and Hagar, I hope I've actually pronounced your name correctly. Regarding the fees, please do get in touch with us and we'll be able to advise you of how you can pay those fees. Fees are payable in US dollars, but we will be able to advise you of the various methods of payment. Okay, so please do get in touch with your academic consultant and we'll be able to advise you specifically for you, depending on which country you are at. Okay, so don't worry, we'll be able to assist you with that. Okay. This might be a little bit too early to ask. This is from Grace. But once we finish the course, will the graduation be done in person, or how do I actually get my certificates?
Okay, we really do hope that there'll be an opportunity for you to travel over to Dundee and to graduate in person. But of course, travel restrictions at the moment, where nobody's certain what will happen. Alternatively, we have virtual graduation, and then your certificate will be posted out to you. At this moment, I think it's important just to identify that there is a time lapse between you finishing your course and the certificates being issued. And this is because, putting the pandemic to one side, we have 2 exam boards each year. And at those exam boards, they happen in November and in May. May. Those exam boards are where all the grades are ratified by the external examiners. Now, this is a typical process in all universities, but it does mean that if you perhaps finish your course maybe just after that May exam board, then you wouldn't be eligible to graduate until the following exam board, after the following exam board. So that could be quite a period of time. Like I said, this is typical university processes, and I think sometimes when students, because we can undertake online learning in so many different forms these days and often get an immediate certificate, there can be an expectation that the university will work the same way, and that isn't, because we have specific processes to go through with the exam board and graduation. So graduations are held twice a year. In June we have the summer graduation, and November the winter graduation. Fantastic celebration, and I'm smiling away just thinking about that now, no matter whether that's physically or virtually. Always great to see our students graduate.
And Marie, can I just add here a question to you? In the event that the applicants are waiting for the degree certificate, is there any formal documentation that the university can issue students confirming that they have completed the degree and obviously just waiting for the official graduation? Is that possible?
It is, I mean, great question, and one that we often get asked by students at that point. But yes, we can offer a letter to confirm, so it's a formal university letter for students who may require that evidence for their employers, for example, and that will identify how much you've completed and what sorts of awards you will be obtaining post-exam board.
Okay, that's excellent. That's very good. It's very reassuring, you know, for applicants that are obviously waiting for that important degree certificate. Okay, fantastic. All right, so I can just see there's another question with regards to timelines. If I exit with a postgraduate certificate and then take a break, how many years can I stay away before I get accepted back into the program to continue my studies?
That's similar to any credit exemption that we offer, that you have up to 5 years to return to us to continue your studies. Equally, some students may start on the postgraduate certificate and then because of that experience, because they've developed the confidence in your own abilities, that they decide straight away to continue as well. And we can do that too. And you just need to let us know at the university and also the team at Stafford Global that that's your intention. So 5 years, up to 5 years, if you do decide to take a break, if you decide to continue, we can arrange that for you so there's no break in between also.
Excellent. And I have one final question from Mohammed, which is actually for you, Dr. Marie. Can you advise which modules you will be teaching me?
At the moment, I'm the module leader for the Leadership and Organisational Development module, and I also teach on supervise some dissertation students as well. But regardless of who's teaching you, you know, we aim to have a very supportive environment, and our aim is to see our students successfully complete whichever awards that they go for. And, you know, we will support you to do that as much as possible and work with you.
Excellent. Okay, so I've managed to group all the questions together, which were very interesting questions this evening. Thank you very much. And as Dr. Marie has mentioned, we are currently accepting applications for this cohort. The application deadline is the 19th of March, which really is not very far away. There are limited places available for this program, simply because the team at the university do have a one-on-one, you know, teaching experience with their students, and try and contain and keep the cohorts quite small, so you get that very, very good teaching experience from the university. So please do get in touch with your academic consultant. Let us get all your documents to the university as urgently as possible. Get that very important unconditional offer. Okay, thank you very much everyone for being with us this evening. Again, lovely to see you, Marie. Hopefully we'll see you quite soon, and hopefully we'll get all your application documents to the university quite quickly. Good evening everyone.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Helen. Bye-bye.